Chapter 3. Dinah couldn't sleep. The walls creaked and groaned under the strain of a ferocious wind. Thunder rattled her bedroom window, rain pelting the glass as she lay staring up at the ceiling, thinking of August. Being with him had always been easy, comfortable. They'd grown up together, played every day after school. She'd spent many an afternoon with him and Ophelia, making mud pies and baking them in the sun, chasing lightning bugs on hot summer nights. She hadn't tired of his company, and she'd cherished his friendship. After she lost Ophelia, he'd been her only friend, but she never loved him. Not the way a woman should love a man who might become her husband. August had succumbed to the same sickness as her brother, disdain for all things uncivilized, and reverence for the iron horse, for the industrial machine steaming westward and ravaging everything in its path. Everything she held dear. What would her life be like now if she'd married him? If she'd gone with him to New York? Would she spend her days alone, trapped in a parlor and staring at the clock? Waste her evenings at fancy parties, making shallow conversation with pretenders who'd speak ill of her the moment she turned her back? How dull. How miserable. Good riddance, Dinah thought. I'm better off without him. Maybe I'll never get married. Save myself the trouble. A tremendous crash brought the train of her thoughts to a screeching halt. She bolted upright. Throwing back the covers, she swung her legs over the side of the bed and went to the window. A hackberry tree had fallen on the fence, and their 60 head of cattle stampeded through the gap. Dinah ran to her dresser and yanked it open. She grabbed the first split skirt she laid eyes on, pulled it up over her drawers, and tugged on her boots. She didn't bother to put on a proper shirt over her white camisole before flinging open her bedroom door. Her father barreled down the narrow hallway half-dressed, wearing only his pants and boots and red union suit. "Come on, we gotta head 'em off before they get too far," he said, already wide awake. Dinah followed him into the hall, down the stairs, and raced past the dining table. She turned the corner as he threw open the front door. He charged out into the storm, and she hurried after him, her breaths coming hard and fast. The rain drenched her in an instant, weighing down the wide legs of her skirt and plastering her camisole to her skin. "Dinah!" her mother cried from the porch as she tore across the yard. "You be careful!" Her father had stabled the horses to keep them out of the bad weather, so they grabbed their bridles and fetched Cardinal and Sarge from their stalls. There was no time to saddle them. They sprang onto the geldings' bare backs and galloped after the cattle. "They're splitting up! I'll get this bunch!" her father shouted over the howling wind. He jabbed a finger at the cows veering south. Almost half of them. "You get those!" Dinah took off in pursuit. She'd chased down cows over the years, but never so many at once, and never in the dark. She held on for dear life, clinging to Cardinal's slick back. Rain blew into her eyes, the wind rushing in her ears, and all she could do was pray that Cardinal wouldn't step in a hole, that she wouldn't slide off, that the cows would stop. A calf strayed from the herd, and Cardinal lunged to cut it off. Dinah grabbed another handful of mane to keep her balance. The calf darted left and right, but Cardinal was too quick, wheeling on his haunches to block its path of escape. The calf returned to the herd and the chase resumed. Must be near the dogwood tree, Dinah thought as the hills flattened, and that meant they were running out of Hance land. She needed to turn them around, and she had to do it quick. "Yeah!" she cried, giving Cardinal a firm kick. He lengthened his strides, galloping left of the herd. When he drew even with the lead cattle, she nudged him closer, trying to steer them to the right. She whooped and hollered and waved her arm. Their course shifted slightly, but they didn't turn for home. Dinah's heart pounded as hard and fast as their thundering hooves. The cows scattered, completely out of control. She didn't know what to do. She couldn't round them up alone. A fork of lightning ignited the horizon, outlining a man sitting astride a horse some 100 yards ahead. No sooner had he appeared than he vanished with a clap of thunder. Dinah swiped at her eyes with the back of her hand. Had she imagined him? A muzzle flashed in the darkness, firing 2 shots into the sky. The herd turned tail and fled toward the homestead, bawling and bellowing as they went, and Dinah moved with them. Relief flooded through her, and she glanced over her shoulder. "Go on, get!" growled a disembodied voice. Another streak of lightning revealed him galloping at the back of the herd, on the right side to balance out her position on the left. She caught a fleeting glimpse of a black hat and flapping coattails before he disappeared again. He barked orders at the cattle, but Dinah didn't risk any more backward glances. She didn't have a clue who he was or why he decided to help her, but she wasn't one to look a gift horse in the mouth. The cows' heads hung low, their hooves dragging as they approached the gate. The rain had gotten lighter, and the wind had calmed. Her father had already herded the rest of the cattle into the pasture, her mother standing beside him as he mended the broken fence. She held up a lantern for him to see by, her knee-length coat buttoned over her nightgown and her braided hair hanging over her shoulder. "There you are," she exclaimed, hurrying to open the gate. "I was about to send your father after you. I would have needed him if this good Samaritan hadn't lent a hand," Dinah replied, sneaking a peek at the mysterious stranger. Little more than a shadow, he walked his horse closer to them as the exhausted cattle sauntered into the pasture. "Does this good Samaritan have a name?" her mother inquired. Dinah looked at him again, wondering why he didn't answer. "Joseph," he said. "Pleased to meet you, Joseph. I'm Sarah." Dinah swung her leg over Cardinal's back and slid to the ground. Her boots splashed in the mud, and her knees nearly buckled. She'd exerted herself more than she realized. "Your daughter is quite the rider," Joseph remarked. Dinah's heart swelled with pride, and she couldn't help but smile as she patted Cardinal's neck. "That she is," her mother admitted. "Thank you for helping her." "Weren't no problem, ma'am." Holding the gate with one hand and the lantern in the other, her mother gave a pointed glance at her clothes. Suddenly, Dinah remembered that she hadn't put on a shirt over her camisole. Cheeks burning, she shrank behind Cardinal, feeling as if she'd slipped into one of those mortifying dreams where one looks down and discovers they're naked. "Evening, sir," said her father in his gravelly voice as he joined them. "Did I hear that you helped Dinah bring back our cattle?" "He did," her mother replied. The last of the herd went through the gate, and she pushed it closed. With the cows out of the way, Joseph dismounted and led his horse over to them. Dinah peeked around Cardinal, admiring the beautiful animal as he stepped into the lantern light. His towering size made Cardinal look like a pony by comparison, his noble head held high, and his big black eyes watching them with suspicion. "A Mustang?" Her father's brow furrowed. "Bad night to be out riding. You lose your way?" The lantern's red glow shone upon rugged, handsome features. Dark stubble framed Joseph's slanted lips and the shape of his jaw. Few men stood as tall as her father, but he did, broad-shouldered and well over 6 feet. "I didn't mean to trespass, sir. I ain't from around here, just passing through." He talked out of the right side of his mouth, the left side stiff and limited in movement. "Well, I'm much obliged to you. You've done me and my family a kindness I won't forget," her father said. He stepped forward and extended his hand. "Jessie Hance." Joseph swallowed as if something had stuck inside his throat. He reached out a black-gloved hand to shake her father's. "Joseph." Dinah squinted, inspecting him more closely. An angry bruise swelled on the bridge of his nose. "You must have a ways to go yet," her father mused. "If you need a place to spend the night, you're more than welcome to use the hayloft." "That's mighty kind of you, but I can't stay." Dinah's heart sank as Joseph tipped his hat to her mother with a polite, "Ma'am." Then he turned to Dinah, half hidden behind Cardinal's lowered head, half dressed and soaking wet. She felt completely and utterly ridiculous. Not an ideal first meeting, but she supposed it didn't matter, as it would also be their last. Joseph's gaze lingered on hers, an unspoken word on his parted lips. He tipped his hat and mounted his horse. Dinah watched him gallop away until he passed out of sight and hearing, as if he'd never been at all, there and gone like a bolt of lightning.